The RTX 4090 is completely useless, and here's why. If you're looking to buy a GPU for your PC and are considering the RTX 4090, do not buy it, because it's useless. If you're wondering why, I'm going to show it to you in this video and explain why you're better off with a 4070 like in this PC or anything cheaper than the 4090. To better understand why you most likely don't need a 4090, we first need to better understand its characteristics and confront them with the 4070, which will be today's rival. The RTX 4090 was first launched on September 20th, 2022. So it's already 1 year old. It's based on the Ada Lovelace architecture. Wait, who the fuck is Ada Lovelace? The graphic processor it mounts, it's the AD102, based on a 5nm architecture that counts 76.3 billion transistors, 16,384 shading units, 512 texture mapping units, 512 tensor cores, 176 ROPs, and 128 ray tracing acceleration cores. The base clock of this processor is 2235 MHz and the boost clock is 2520 MHz. As for the memory, this beast of a GPU mounts 24 gigs of GDDR6X memory with a 384-bit interface running at 1313 MHz with a bandwidth of 1008 GB a second. This card is truly a beast, and it needs a lot of current to run. Here's why Nvidia has decided to use the dumb 16-pin connector, which needs to be connected with two different PCIe cables coming from the PSU, since the TDP of this card is 450 watts and a single PCIe cable can handle up to 288 watts each. You've seen the comparison with the 3070 and you may be wondering, why the heck am I even comparing the two cards? It's clear that the 4090 will win every single comparison. And you would be right. The point is that you don't need all that power. Let's have a look at in-game performances. I've received some critiques about the kind of games I was testing the GPUs with, so I changed them, opting for more recent games, but if you think I should add other games, let me know down in the comments below. Starting with the heaviest game I've tried, Call of Duty Warzone. It's crazy how heavy it is. Surprisingly, at 4K, it managed to play only between 80 to 120 FPS based on the quality settings and the SSL settings. It honestly surprised me how heavy this game is. I know that the level of detail is pretty considerable, but there are other games I've tested that look way better but perform significantly better as well. This is the game that the 3070 handles more poorly, with only 40 FPS on max settings and about 70 with low quality. One of the heaviest game I've tried is Cyberpunk 2077. With everything maxed out at 4K with even ray tracing at ultra, it scored an average of 85 FPS and it looked amazingly. But as we drop the quality settings to high, we already see a significant improvement. 118 FPS average, and with ray tracing at low, we get 126 FPS average. And without ray tracing, 136 FPS. The 3070 manages to score only 45 FPS average at ultra settings, but as you lower them, you score the 60 FPS mark pretty easily. In F122, I know there's F123, but I don't have it, so we're stuck with 22. At 4K, everything maxed out, we get 86 FPS, which is crazy with the 4090. But as we lower the settings to high, the 4090 scores 224 FPS. I've never seen such a gap between high and very high. Obviously, the 4070 gets a lower score, but with a more than sufficient 123 FPS average at high settings. The last more demanding game is Detroit Become Human. Even though it's not the latest game, I find it's one of the games with the best graphics you can play. It's usually locked at 60 FPS, but you can change a setting in a text file to lock it at 144 FPS. I haven't seen a method to fully unlock FPSs though. And the 3090 reaches close to 144 at everything maxed out in 4K. It goes from 120 to 144 FPS and it looks truly amazing. The 3070 manages to score between 80 to 110 FPS at ultra setting. Lastly, Rainbow Six Siege. Even though you've criticized it in my latest video, it's just to show you how it performs in esport games. In 4K, everything maxed out, you get 377 FPS in the in-game benchmark, which translates into over 400 FPS while gaming. And we haven't even talked about render times in video editing. My last video is the GTX 1080 Ti still worth in 2023, which is recorded in 4K 60 FPS with a lot of text and some effects and music. It only took 6 minutes and 32 seconds to render, and I'm using the NVIDIA game drivers. With the studio drivers, it would be even faster. For everyone that edits video, you know how great that is. But then, why am I saying that this GPU is useless? Because of the price. You can find it for over 1800 euros new and around 1300 euros used. And for this price, you can literally make an entire build with a Ryzen 7 5800X 3D, 32 gigs of RAM and a 4070, all while staying under 1300 euros. By the way, I'm going to make soon a video about this PC, so make sure to stay tuned and hit the subscribe button so that you won't miss it. Will the 4070 handles every game at max settings in 4K at 120 FPS? No, but it's going to be able to play 4K at medium settings in every game, and 2K it will crush it. You will need to make some compromises at 4K, but you'll get away with every single game. And even for video editing, that is going to be more than fine. Who should buy the RTX 3090 then? If you work with your PC, it makes sense. If you're a streamer and you need that raw performances, or a video editor, or you make animations in After Effects, this GPU will grant you the best experience possible. Also thanks to the massive 24 gigs of VRAM. While rendering videos, Premiere takes 20 gigs of VRAM in my projects. Or maybe you just don't want to bother and you want to play at 4K, everything maxed out, and you can afford it. In that case, go ahead and you won't be disappointed. If you're a casual gamer though, and are looking to build a balanced PC, you probably don't need a 4090, and you can save a lot of money with a less powerful GPU. Thank you so much for sticking until the end of the video. Remember to hit the subscribe button, leave a like, activate the notification bell, and leave a comment with which GPU I should review next, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!